Hi there. Happy Friday. Dr. Sabrina Starling here. I'm the business psychologist at Tap the Potential. I'm also the author of the How to Hire the Best series and my latest book, The 4-Week Vacation. This is a Q&A session today. I had some questions that have come in from those of you who follow the Profit by Design podcast, who've read the How to Hire the Best books. And so I want to tackle one of the questions that I've received, and probably in future lives, I'll take on some more questions. So if you have questions for me that you'd like me to address, pop them in the comments because I will bring them into our upcoming lives, and I'm happy to address questions. So Laura Benda actually wrote in and she said she's been following the Profit by Design podcast. She's read the How to Hire the Best book, and she has really improved the HR situation in her business. And I take that to mean, Laura, that you, the business owner, are a lot happier because your team is better and working more effectively together. So that makes me very happy to hear that from you. And she asked about a cell phone policy. And this is actually, I've heard this question come up recently in several different contexts about, what kinds of policies to have with our team members around cell phone use. So one of the things that I really encourage all of us to be thinking about whenever we're setting policies in our businesses is, are we creating policies for the A players on our team that support them in being more effective in their work? Or are we creating policies to manage our warm bodies who are on our team? So always, anytime you start to write a new policy for your business or roll one out that you're going to share in a team meeting, ask yourself this question: is this policy going to support my A players, or is it going to frustrate them? And is it really being designed to manage and control the warm bodies who aren't performing anyway? And if that's the foundation of the policy, do not create that policy, because you will create a business that becomes very noxious to A players. So when it comes to cell phone use, there's a couple of things here. Number one, we want our team members to be professional in their use of the phone. We also don't want our team members to be distracted by their being on their phone or checking Facebook or Instagram or anything like that while they're working. The other side of it, though, if we think about how our A players use their cell phones at work, one of the things that happens a lot is A players will feel like they need to be responsive at all times of the day or night. And so because it's easy to get a hold of them on their cell phone, they carry their phones with them. And that really causes work to bleed into personal life. And that is a setup for things to become unprofessional very quickly. And for your team members to have conversations when they have kids around in the background or who knows, and you don't want that going on. So you want to handle this from the perspective of, let's create some boundaries between our work and our life. And this is very important, especially in virtual workplaces where people have flexible hours and different times that they can work. So number one, I recommend that each of your team members has clear, specific hours designated on their calendar when they're working and when they're not working. And so it's time blocking. They time block when they're working, and that needs to be accessible to other members of the team. And when they're not working, they're not working. So they're not expected to take phone calls or respond to messages during the times that they're not working, so that they can be fully present with themselves and with their family members. That immediately reduces so much stress for your team members. You would not believe the amount of stress that will come off of them when they understand they have clear work hours, that you might be flexible with them when those work hours are, but they have designated their work hours. They're blocked out on their calendar, and that's when they're working. And that's when they'll take phone calls that are work related or respond to messages that are work related. But when they're not working, they are off. They are with their families, or they're exercising, or they're relaxing in front of the TV, or who knows what they're doing, but they're off work. And so I actually recommend that's the policy that you put in place. And the flip side of that policy is when they're at work, they're at work. So they're not checking Facebook. They're not doing other things on their phones. They're not taking calls from family members. And you want to think about letting your team members know that, yes, you can have a cell phone on you in case of emergency. If you have a child at home and you want to make sure that they have access to you, obviously you want to have your phone and allow your team members to have access to their phone. And if you've hired A players, you can trust that they are whole, competent, capable, and complete, that they are going to make good decisions about how they utilize that phone during the workday, that they're not going to be just getting into these long, extended conversations with their kids. And so this overall theme here of supporting your A players and setting healthy boundaries where they're teaching their family members, hey, when I'm at work, I'm at work. Sure, if you have a real quick question and you need my help with it right away, yes, you can call me and ask me that quick question. I'll take your call if I'm available. If I'm not, you just have to wait. And so teaching your team members to have that boundary. But remember, the other side of that boundary is that they're learning that when they're off and they're with their families. And when your team members are able to have that good presence at home and good presence at work, number one, they're going to come to work and be much happier and productive for you. But number two, you're going to feel much more comfortable with the level of professionalism that's happening when they're having conversations with your clients and customers. So I hope this has been helpful to you, Laura, in thinking through how you want to create a cell phone policy. And we have upcoming Q&A sessions. I think our next live that we do next week will be another Q&A session. I have another question that Laura submitted, and I will tackle it there. And I also want to remind you that if you don't have A players on your team, or you have an open role and you want to hire more A players, be aware that today is the very last day to register for the upcoming How to Hire the Best course. So don't miss out. If you have hiring challenges, you definitely want to get enrolled in the How to Hire the Best course. And I'm going to pop the URL here in the comments. It's tapthepotential.com/course. Again, it's tapthepotential.com/course. So thank you for being here with me. And remember, if you have questions that you'd like me to answer, pop them in the chat and I'll bring them into our next live, and we'll keep helping you and supporting you in designing that business that gives you more time for what matters most and more money in your bank account than ever. That's it for now. Enjoy your weekend.